Our next case study for discussion is clique polynomially reduces to vertex cover. Remember, we know how to reduce clique to independent set in polynomial time and independent set to vertex cover in polynomial time. Both are deterministic in nature. Now one can use the transitive relationship and bring a reduction from clique to the vertex cover problem. So the reduction goes like this: g comma k of clique instance is mapped to, on this side, g prime and k prime. Now we need to see and what is g prime and what is k prime. Remember, to get independent set, we took the complement, and for independent set and vertex cover, g remains the same. So for this we need to take the complement, and over here only the parameter changes. K of this maps to n minus k. So what we do, we take g complement and k prime becomes n minus k. So observe this. You have an instance of clique, say something like this. Now this would be mapped to its complement. So 4, 5, 3, 2, 1. Now edges that are absent, they will be present here. 4, 1, there is an edge, and 4 is adjacent to these 3. 2 is adjacent to 4 and 1. It is not adjacent to 3 and 5. Those edges will be present. And 3 is adjacent to everything except 2, so this edge is present. And 5 is adjacent to this and this, it's not adjacent to 1 and 2, so 5, 2 and 5, 1 will be present. Now what we say, in this, suppose you ask for k is equal to 3. Now g comma k equals 3 is an S instance, because this has a clique of size 3. You see that 4, 5, 3 becomes a clique. What we say over here is, work with g complement and ask for what is our k prime. K prime is n minus k, and there are 5 and this. In complement, you see that 4, 5 and 3, these three are independent set, which means this and this becomes the vertex cover for this graph. You look at the edges. For each edge, at least one endpoint is present. So 3, 4, 5 is an independent set. 1, 2 is a vertex cover. Fine. And here is a structural understanding. Suppose you have a set of independent vertices. So they are independent vertices, no edges inside. We claim that the rest of the vertices are vertex cover. 3, 4, 5 is independent set. We say that the rest of the vertices are vertex cover. Why? This is an independent set, no edges inside. Which means if you look at other vertices, and you may find edges inside, or the edges may go out from vertex cover to this. Or rather, if at all there is an edge, either the edges are fully contained in this set, or one endpoint in this set, another endpoint in this set. Which means for each edge, at least one endpoint is present in this, therefore this set becomes the vertex cover for the graph. So that clearly tells you a set of vertices that induces a click here, and they become an independent set in the complement, which means the other vertices become the vertex cover. You can see that if this is the set of independent vertices, then we claim that the rest of them are vertex cover. The reason is for each edge at least one endpoint is here and it's fully contained in this, or one endpoint is here and another endpoint is here. So this clearly gives you a framework to relate click and vertex cover. As always, if vertex cover is solvable efficiently, we can use that as a black box to solve a click problem. Meaning, if VC belongs to class P, then click belongs to class P. That's the consequence of this. So you want to solve click problem for which you pass G comma K. What you do? We invoke vertex cover black box with G complement and N minus K. And if this returns yes, we return yes for the click problem. If this returns no, we also return no for the click problem. Again, as of this date, we do not know whether VC exists, VC belongs to class P, or whether it has a deterministic polynomial time algorithm. This framework says at some point in time this becomes poly, then click problem becomes poly. From the computational perspective, the complexity of click and vertex cover are one and the same. That's precisely what this theory is helping us to relate problems. And this set is growing. These interesting reductions help us to compare the relative difficulty of one problem with the other. So now that we have discovered three different reductions, there is more to it which we shall discuss next. So our next case study for discussion is 3 satisfiability. So this problem, the input consists of variables x1, x2, so on up to xn, and clauses c1 and c2 and so on up to cm, and each clause ci is like xi or xj or xk. They appear in true form or in negated form, meaning this could be x1 bar or x1. So something like this is given to us. Now the question is, does there exist truth assignment or truth values for x1 to xn such that c1 and c2 so on up to cm is evaluated to true? Okay, so we want to find the truth values for x1, x2 so on up to xn. Like x1 is 0, x2 is 1, x3 is 0, like that. And plug into this formula and check whether the formula is evaluated to true. Let's take an example. Suppose input has got 4 variables and my clauses are x1 bar or x2 or x3 and x1 or x2 or x3 bar and x1 x3. So like this. Now the question is find truth assignment for x1 to x4 such that the formula is such that f is true. And if there is no truth assignment, we say no truth assignment exists. Or rather, for any assignment of x1 to x4, the formula is evaluated to false. Now you see that suppose I assign x2 to 1 and x1 to 0 and say x3 to 1. You may find more than one assignment. Here is one assignment. x1 is evaluated to 0 and x2 is evaluated to 1. So this is 1. This is true. This is true. x3 is evaluated to true. So this is true. Okay. And you can even say x1 is say 1 and x2 is 1, x3 is 0. Now even for this, you see that because of this one is evaluated to true, this one is evaluated to true because of this or this, then this one is evaluated to true because of this. So now, does there exist such a truth assignment or not? So that's precisely we ask for. Intuitively, you have x1, x2, so on up to xn. This variable can take 0, 1. This variable can take 0, 1. So on up to this variable can take 0, 1. Which means one possibility tells you that all of them are 0. Another possibility tells you that it is 0 followed by 1. Next possibility tells you like this. So what is this? This is precisely list all binary strings of length n. Now what is the complexity of this? Complexity of this is theta of 2 power n. So it means if you follow a trivial deterministic algorithm, takes exponential time. A trivial deterministic algo takes exponential time to find a truth assignment for x1 to xn, and on plugging that to the formula f, one can check whether formula is evaluated to true or not. This problem is so interesting for two reasons. One, you can relate every problem in NP to this problem, that's one. And another one, this has got a reduction to the clique problem, which we shall see next. So here is a reduction from 3 satisfiability to the clique problem. So we want to reduce an instance of clique to an instance of satisfiability problem to an instance of clique problem. Suppose the instance of satisfiability is say something like this, and x1 bar or x2 bar or x3 and x2 bar or x3 bar. Say something like this. Please note, when we say 3 satisfiability, the 3 in 3 satisfiability tells you that cardinality of each clause is at most 3. Okay, at least 1, at most 3. It could be 1 or 2 or 3. Now an instance like this, we want to reduce it to a graph theoretic problem, which is this. So how do we create graph, and what is our parameter k? Now, is this an S instance? Suppose I say x3 is 1, okay, and x2 is set to 0 and x1 is set to 1. Now, because of this one is true, because of this one is true, and because of this one is true. So therefore, the formula is evaluated to true for this assignment. Now, how do we construct a graph out of this? Our graph is like this. I will have 3 partitions like this. In the first one, you will have x1, x2. In this one, we will have x1 bar, x2 bar, x3, and in this we will have x2 bar and x3 bar. So each clause becomes a partition here, and now this is precisely my vertex set. These 2 plus 3 plus 2, they all become the vertex set of this graph. You can appropriately relabel them. You can say u1, u2, u3, u4, u5, u6, u7. But what each vertex and represent and how do they correspond to the formula, that you should get it, which is why I have drawn in such a way that one can map this and this easily. Now the vertex set is defined. Let's look at the edges. There are no edges inside. So this is an independent set, this is an independent set, this is an independent set. No edges inside. And the edges are from one partition to another partition. There is only one constraint. x1 is adjacent to everything except its complement, x1 bar. So x1 is adjacent to this, x1 is adjacent to this. So like that, you look at any component, no edges inside the partition or component, and no edge between xi and xi bar, and you find all other edges, and for all xi xj such that xi and such that xj is not xi bar, you see that xi xj belongs to E of g. So one is not the complement of another, so which means you look at x2, x2 is adjacent to x1 bar, x2 is adjacent to x3 but not to this, and it is adjacent to this. Similarly, you look at x1 bar, this will be adjacent to x2 which is already there. Inside there are no edges, and outside it is adjacent to x2 bar and this. And like that we draw other edges. x2 bar is adjacent to x1, not adjacent to x2, not adjacent to x2 bar, and x2 bar can be adjacent, and x2 bar and x3 bar are adjacent. Only thing is, it should not be adjacent to anything inside and outside to its complement. Now look at x3. x3 is adjacent to x1, x2. x3 should not be adjacent to x3 bar. x3 can be adjacent to x2 bar. That's all we have done. Now look at the values that satisfy the truth assignment. We see that x1 is satisfying, x1 is set to 1, and x2 is set to 1, which means x2 bar is 1, and other thing is x3 is set to 1, which means x3 bar is 0. Okay, so look at this. We can even take x2 bar. Okay, over here x2 bar is set to this. Now the idea is this. So this one is true because of x2 bar, this one, and this one is set to true because of x2 bar, and this one is set to true because of x1. Okay. Now you see that the literals, these literals are variables, these are called literals or variables. The literals that are set to true, they help us in finding a clique here. You see that x1, x2 bar, they form a clique. x1, x2 bar form a clique of size 3. So now we see that if this is an S instance, then this becomes a clique of size 3.